Imagine you're 40,000 years old. Not you personally, but your entire species. Someone in your group has just stopped breathing. There's no funeral home, no priest, no 911, no ritual anyone taught you because writing doesn't exist yet. Just a body, going cold, in the middle of the only family you've ever known. What do you do? The answer is stranger, more intimate, and more disturbing than you'd expect. And it explains something about how you grieve today. The first funerals. The oldest deliberate burial we've found is over 100,000 years old. At Kafze Cave in Israel, a body curled on its side, arms folded, and next to it, deer antlers placed in the hands. Someone chose that. Someone knelt beside a corpse and decided it needed something to hold. This wasn't instinct, like a bird building a nest. This was the first time a living creature looked at death and said, "This matters enough to plan for." Wearing the bones. At sites across Europe, archaeologists have found something that sounds almost impossible. Bodies buried wearing thousands of beads, carved from mammoth ivory, each one taking roughly an hour to make by hand. One burial at Sungir in Russia held 2 children, buried head to head, covered in over 10,000 beads between them. That's thousands of hours of labor, from a group that spent most of its time just trying to eat. They stopped surviving to grieve. And they grieved through their hands, not their words. Painting the dead red. Many ancient burials share something else. The bones are stained red, coated in ochre, a mineral pigment early humans had to travel and trade for. Some researchers think it symbolized blood, or life, an attempt to give the dead back the color they lost. Others think it was practical, masking the smell or marking the body as separate from the living. Either way, someone crushed stone into powder and rubbed it into a corpse's skin. That is not efficient. That is not survival. That is love, expressed in the only material available. The bodies that weren't buried alone. Then it gets darker. At several sites, human burials include the bones of dogs, one of the earliest tamed wolves ever found, buried beside a child at Bonn Oberkassel. Both bodies fed and cared for, even while sick, based on the wear on their teeth. And in some Neanderthal graves, flower pollen was found clustered around the skeleton, a detail scientists debated for decades, wondering if flowers were laid there on purpose or blown in by wind. We may never know for certain, but the fact that we're still asking whether Neanderthals mourned with flowers says something about how badly we want to believe grief is older than we are. Why this mattered for survival. Here's the part that reframes everything. In a world where every set of hands mattered for hunting, gathering, defending the group, stopping everything to bury someone for days wasn't efficient. It cost calories. It cost time. It cost safety, standing still in open ground to dig. And they did it anyway, over and over, for tens of thousands of years. That's not a wasted resource. That's a signal, to the group and maybe to themselves, that a life was worth more than the labor it took to mark its ending. Groups that could grieve together could also trust each other, protect each other, stay bonded through loss instead of breaking apart. Grief wasn't weakness. It was glue. So when you stand at a funeral today, in a suit, holding flowers you didn't grow yourself, saying words you didn't invent, you're not doing something modern. You're doing something that's older than language, older than agriculture, older than most of what we call civilization. Somewhere in Ice Age Europe, someone knelt beside a body, pressed red ochre into cold skin, and refused to just walk away. That instinct never left us. It's the same one that makes you keep a voicemail you'll never delete or visit a grave you know is empty. We didn't invent grief. We inherited it from the very first humans who couldn't bear to let each other disappear without a trace. If this made you think differently about grief or about the people who came before us, subscribe. There's more of this history waiting to be dug up.